Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Can you hear me, please?
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Thank you, Stella, for joining on time. God bless you.
Amen.
Yeah, Emmanuela B. Akwakwansa. Thank you for joining. Solomon Tender. God bless you for joining on time. We are starting on time. I think we should start on time instead of waiting so that we will be able to catch up on a lot of things and then ask questions as appropriate. Okay, so we'll say a short prayer before we start. And so let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we appreciate you. We lift you high. We exalt you. We magnify your name. Today has happened because you ordained it. Against all odds, we are hosting DMM 6.0 just because of your help, just because of your power. Thank you, Jesus. Father, we just want to appreciate you. We just want to give you glory. We just want to give you honor because you are faithful. If it had not been for you, Lord, where would we be? We would have been long lost and forgotten, but your mercy has kept us and your mercy has sustained us, and for this we are grateful. Father, this afternoon we commit the webinar into your hands, oh Lord, that from the beginning till the end you reign supreme in Jesus' name. Oh Lord, come and have your way. That through this program, Lord, destiny shall be affected for good in the name of Jesus. That through this program, Lord, people's lives shall be changed, their finances shall be moved up in the name of Jesus. Lord, we commit all our speakers into your hands that they will speak as directed from above, Lord. You will use them mightily. We commit all our devices into your hands, internet, laptop, phones, all the things we are using this afternoon, Lord. They will not malfunction. They will work for us in the name of Jesus. We soak ourselves and all the devices we are using in the blood of Jesus. And we declare no weapon of the enemy fashioned against us shall prosper. It is well with us. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed.
Amen.
And so before we move ahead with the program, I just wanted to do a bit of introduction on what we do at House of Wisdom. To the glory of God, House of Wisdom was started in November last year, 2022, from a burden on my heart because, I saw that our young people needed some sort of mentoring. And based on my life experience, I could do it. And I had this burden. In fact, I lost my peace as a result of it. And even though I was arguing with God that it wasn't time, I'll wait a bit, God was like, just start anyhow, anyway, just start. And here we are, 6 editions after. We give God all the glory. There have been challenges, but God has been faithful. God has been awesome. We give him all the glory, all the honor. And so we exist basically to bridge the digital skills gap among Nigerian and African youths. And we thank God for what we have been able to do so far. And today we are hosting DMM 6.0 to the glory of his name. And I want to say thank you all for joining us. I want to appreciate all our speakers, despite their busy schedules and despite the fact that most people want to rest on Sunday, they still said yes to this engagement. God bless you. You honored God in our lives and the Lord will honor you. Thank you so, so much. And so without further ado, we are launching into the program because we want our speakers to speak so that we will be able to ask questions as appropriate. And according to our program, we are having the speech on virtual assistants first. And I bless the Lord that our sister who is taking us on that is already in the house. Actually, this is the second, what I will call the second Beijing DMM, you know, all ladies DMM. We had one in, I think, March, yes, if I'm right, and we are having another one. I bless God that the women are stepping up to the plate. We bless God that women are holding their own in society. And so we want to launch into the program and invite our speaker, Emmanuela Ugoala. But before I invite her to take the podium, I would like to do a short introduction. Emmanuela Ugoala, a native of Abia State, Nigeria, Emmanuela Ugoala is a graduate of accounting with second-class upper division and 7 years multi-sectorial experience. She's also a writer, baker, ex-television presenter, and virtual assistant. With an extensive experience in Microsoft packages, Google Workspace, project management tools, accounting software, and ICANN in view, her skills and expertise have been put to use in organizations like Olam Crown Flour Mill, Nasi Ugo Technical Services Nigeria Limited, Pakistan Television, Republic 54, among others. That's not all. Furthermore, Emmanuela is the CEO of Etreats et al., which specializes in drafting ATS-friendly CVs, cover letters, statement of purpose, business plan, presentation slides, optimizing LinkedIn profiles, and baking. As part of her service to humanity, she co-founded Wheels of Change, a non-governmental and non-profit-making organization which supports children from disadvantaged backgrounds and the elderly on a monthly basis. Conclusively, Emmanuela has held several leadership positions and received award certifications from NIFES and other bodies, including a letter of commendation from NYSC Ondo West Local Government Inspector. We are pleased this afternoon as members of House of Wisdom to invite Emmanuela Ugoala to the podium to teach us how to become a 21st century virtual assistant.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hope you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I should be able to turn on my video shortly. My assumptions was that I was supposed to be the second speaker based on the other program. Coming early for nothing different actually. So the introduction or the bio is quite lengthy, and listening to it, I'm like, is this me? But it's a pleasure to discuss with you guys. And then in this age, in this era where technology is making waves, many people are even migrating from their various fields to the tech path. One cannot underestimate or underemphasize the need for a virtual assistant. And then looking at the topic that says a 21st century virtual assistant, you might be wondering, before the 21st century, was there anything like virtual assistants? But then, in this age, in this era, with the involvement of tech, everything, and then even AI models, virtual assistants has come to stay. We say that this has come to stay. So there are several aspects to this. There are businesses and companies who offer these virtual assistant services. And then there are also AI models. Peradventure, you must have heard of Siri or Alexa or Google Assistant. These are AI models that you could just tell what you want them to do or what you want them to search up in the net for you. But today in this session, which is going to be just about 40 minutes, we are looking at the individual aspects. So we are not going to dwell mostly on Amazon's Alexa or Apple Siri or Google Assistant. We are not also going to dwell on virtual assistant companies like Time, Delay, Worldwide, and Virtual. We are going to look at individuals who have decided to become virtual assistants. Now, who is a virtual assistant? A virtual assistant is also known as a digital assistant with a wide range of knowledge and capability to effectively perform tasks and provide assistance in a digital environment. That is to say that everything about a virtual assistant is done online. In other words, synonym, we could say a virtual assistant works remotely. So what services does a virtual assistant render? It is important to state that the services of a virtual assistant are relative. So a person can decide to just dwell solely on bookkeeping services, while another virtual assistant can decide to dwell solely on social media management, and another can decide to dwell on maybe email management or appointment setting or travel management, checking up flights, booking tickets, and all of that. These are online services that you can render. So it doesn't really have to be just one of it. It can even be a mixture of two or three of this. However, your choice of service to render should be determined by your strengths. I hope that you can hear me. Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you, ma. I can hear you. I can say of myself. I don't know of others.
Okay, I think they should. So your choice of a service to render should be determined by your strengths. Do that which you know that you can deliver your best at. And then what should a virtual assistant have or know? What should I know? What maybe skills or competencies should I have to make me excel in this field? The first one is communication skill. We know that communication is not just restricted to virtual assistants only, but then as a virtual assistant, you should have an excellent communication skill, both written and verbal. You should be able to effectively interact with users or clients or other people in your workspace, and this includes your grammar, your punctuation, your tone of voice, as well as the ability to understand and interpret messages accurately. You should be able to understand what your clients want you to do. And you should be able to communicate and get feedback from them to know if, oh yes, you're right on track, or if there is something you need to add or subtract. So your communication skills has to be top-notch. Then the next skill that you should have as a virtual assistant is the task and time management skill. You should be proficient in managing tasks and prioritizing them. I don't know if I said this earlier, that an aspect of virtual assistant services is, calendar management, appointment setting. So let's just say someone that's not punctual or someone that doesn't have their calendar or their clock as their friend. You're not even going to remember that, oh, your client is supposed to have a meeting by this time, your client is supposed to travel by this time, your client is supposed to seal this deal by this time, and it can get you into a whole lot of trouble. Your contract can be terminated because virtual assistant jobs are mostly on, a contract basis. So the next thing that you need to have is proficient use of technology and tools. As a virtual assistant, you should be familiar with various digital tools and technology. This is not the time to say, oh, I'm not computer literate, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Sorry, I think that the noise is overshadowing my voice. But let me continue regardless. So as a virtual assistant, you're supposed to be computer literate first off, and then even, as you use your computer, you're supposed to have mastery of some certain software that will aid your job. For example, you're supposed to know how to navigate the email, how to check, sometimes when you receive emails, everything doesn't really come to the inbox. Some goes to your spam messages. You should be able to check that. You should also be able to check, make use of meeting applications like Zoom, Google Meet, and all of that. That's virtual meeting software. You should also be able to use document editing tools like Word documents and all of that, Word, Google Doc, and all of that. So the next thing that you need to know or have as a virtual assistant is good research skills. You agree with me that sometimes you might not really know, everything, the in and out of a particular job, but just your ability to research is going to save you a whole lot. That you practically learn on the job and still you're able to deliver and then give it your best and all of that. So a virtual assistant should be skilled in conducting online research to gather information, validate facts, and find solutions to problems. Now on the next skill, don't hesitate to ask many questions as we progress, so that I don't want to miss out on your valuable points or questions or contributions. So the next skill that you should have as a virtual assistant is organization skills. Oh no, this is not the time to be, should I say like a discal, this is not the time to be unorganized. You should be able to know where you save what documents. And that's why, you have files that you can group documents according to maybe the companies, the individuals, depending on the organization you work with and what you guys do. You should be able to organize files, documents, data to ensure easy retrieval and efficient workflow. So if you have to label this document, or if you have to, for example, if you specialize on appointment setting or calendar management, if you have to put an alarm, or if you specialize on social media management, if you have to schedule posts for later, you can also do that. You have to be, in conclusion, you just have to be up and doing. Another skill that you need to have is problem-solving skill. A virtual assistant should be able to analyze situations, identify problems before it escalates to something really big that you can handle, identify it, and then solve it. You should also be confidential. This is very important. Confidentiality and data security is very important. You should understand this and then protect sensitive information of your organization. Then adaptability and learning agility, which can also relate to researching skill, is something that you need to learn. And professionalism and ethics, this one cuts across, all profession. So a virtual assistant should exhibit this in interactions and maintain high ethical standards. Now I've talked about the skill part of it. As a virtual assistant, I've talked about the skill that you need to have. Now I want to specialize on the software tools that you can use to make your job really easy, because one thing is sure, as a virtual assistant, you are not limited. That's to say that you could work for 2 to 3 or more organizations at a particular time. So in order to do this and to do this really well and not to mix up everything, you might want to implore, the aid of some softwares to help you. For example, when it comes to communication tools, virtual assistants will need to email clients. So you definitely need Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo Mail. For messaging apps, you need like Slack, you need Microsoft Teams. And then for video conferencing software, just like we're doing now, we can do this on Zoom. We're currently doing this on Zoom. You can also use Google Meet to communicate with your clients or team members. Let's not forget that a virtual assistant is a remote worker. So how do you connect with other people in organization? A few times you can have meetings, with these people and they are done online. So you need to gain mastery on the use of this software. And then projects management tools, you should be conversant with Trello, Asana, Basecamp, etc. Here again, it depends on the aspects of virtual assistant you specialize on. Or let me rephrase that, it depends on the service that you decide to render as a virtual assistant. For example, if I want to specialize on bookkeeping or data entry as a virtual assistant, I might not need to use project and management tools. So as I say, that's why I explain, I mentioned the software and I say what you can do with it. So if you're taking notes, your interest at this point, if it's something you want to venture into, and then the tools or the software that you need to learn for that particular service that you decide to render. So I've also talked about the document editing tools like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. For Google Workspace, there is Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, etc. Now, for file sharing and cloud storage tools, I know a majority of people would just like to save jobs in our systems or in our phones or in our flash drives, but one sure means, or the safest means that I'll advise you save your files and your documents is on your Google Drive or on your Dropbox. Why? Because in case you lose your gadgets, maybe your laptop or your flash drive or anything, with a new gadget, you can just log on to your Google Drive and then access everything. And in the event that maybe you're ill or something, someone can be able to assist readily and easily by just getting it from the drive once you share the link with them. Any questions so far, please? I don't want it to be like, one person just doing all the talking. If you have questions, maybe you could comment or use the reactions. So I'll be looking at the comment section intermittently, and then when I see your question, I'll read it out. So let's progress. So another thing that can help, another software that can help if you want to venture into maybe appointment setting, calendar management, etc. For time tracking, you're going to need Rescue Time or Toggle or Focus at Will. Now, if I want to explain this software in detail, I will definitely exceed my time frame. So I'll advise that you just take a note of this, and then you can check them out later on Google, or you can also reach out to me later to explain this. Now, social media management, which is what, a variety or a large number of people venture into social media management, content creation, influencing, and all of that. These people also render virtual services, but that they don't call it virtual assistant, they don't call themselves virtual assistant, doesn't mean that it doesn't fall under this. Like I said earlier, there are various aspects to this thing. So for your social media management, you can use Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social to schedule your posts to go later. If you use LinkedIn, there is a way you can schedule your posts on the LinkedIn app. Facebook doesn't have that yet. WhatsApp doesn't. I don't know about Instagram. I don't know if Instagram has that. Or there is a software, one app called Later, Later. You can also use that to schedule your posts. Online research tools, there is Google, there is Scholar, there is PubMed. Now there are even AIs like Bard and ChatGPT So you're not limited. You can even, virtual assistant is something that you could do. You can just take up courses on maybe ALX and the rest. You can just research. I won't say it's pretty easy, but it's something that you can do if you put out time and you're intentional about learning it. So we'll move to the next point, which is note taking. As we are having these conversations now, if you don't have maybe a pen or a book or like writing materials around you, do you know that you can make a note of this meeting on Evernote? Have you ever heard of that? There is Evernote, there is OneNote, there is Trello, and then some phones come with like a notepad that you can use. So you can also use that to aid your job as a virtual assistant. Then there are password managers. For example, if you're someone that have a hard time remembering passwords, or you work for multiple organizations, you might want to use LastPass or Dashlane or iPassword to like take a note of the password. So when it comes to this, I advise that you write the organization. For example, if it's a Twitter account, this will be beneficial for people, virtual assistants that render social media management service. This will be very beneficial to them. So you can just write, for example, let's say the company is Green. You can just write Green Twitter name, username, then the password. You can do like that for all the social media accounts or their social media handles. So it is very important to note that specific software tools used by virtual assistants may vary depending on the client or the employer's preference. Now to the interesting part for most persons is how much is a virtual assistant paid? This time, many people even hardly want to volunteer. Many people hardly want to do a job that doesn't really cater for their everyday needs and all of that. So you want to know, okay, if I'm to devote my time, if I'm to devote my resources and then learn this or research on this, how much will I get in return? Now, I must state that the remuneration for virtual assistants is relative. It depends on the individual. It depends on your should I say, your track record with the people you've worked, your experience. It depends on your experience. It depends also on the organization, how much you're willing to pay. It also depends on the service that they want you to do for them. So it depends on a whole lot of things. I hope this background noise is not interfering so much, but your remuneration as a virtual assistant is dependent on a whole lot of things. However, it is also important that I say that sometimes your salary as a virtual assistant may not come monthly, regularly. Like in this part of the world, we just deal with monthly salary and all of that. Sometimes it may not be monthly. Sometimes it may be hourly rates, especially if you're working for multinational companies. You can charge them like based on the work you do for them per hour. So it ranges from maybe $10 per hour to $75 per hour, or even more. This hourly rate it's the best, is the one I'll advise you to go for if you're working for organizations that are, outside Nigeria. This is the best for me. I prefer to charge for my services based on hourly rates. Then there is monthly salary, there is project-based or tax-based pay. Sometimes they'll just contact you that, okay, I want you to maybe do data entry for me. Within 1 month or max 3 months, you're done, and then they pay you, and then off you go. Sometimes it's also commission-based pay. Let's say that you do affiliate marketing or something. It depends on maybe the commission, the number of referrals, or the number of sales that you make, the number of revenue that you're able to generate for the organization. So it depends. And don't forget, it's important to be sure of all these things before you take up that job. Don't be so desperate or so in a hurry that you do not get the clear knowledge of these things. You have to begin and then know this before you even start the job, except you decide to volunteer for the organization, and then that's also fine. So we'll move to the next, which is how to secure virtual assistant roles. If you have any question, don't forget to type it in the comment section, and then I'll definitely read and attend to it. So how can I get a job as a virtual assistant? Where do I go to? What step do I take? How do I do this? The very first tip that I have is to create a professional online presence. I don't think that we need to talk about this so much in this time and in this era. We can't stress the need for you to have, a professional online presence. Just about 3 days ago, someone contacted me and he was like, oh, I checked you out on LinkedIn. And then, because before that time, the person only knew my name and we are having this conversation via mail. So the person just used, the name and search. So imagine that I don't have, or I didn't have a LinkedIn profile. The person will just see maybe blank, or it will just say name not found or something. It's very important that you have a professional online presence. I was in an audio event, I think last month or 2 months back, and I've forgotten his name, but he's a Ghanaian, and he advised that no matter what, try to get at least 1,000 followers across different social media platforms. So that's to say, no matter the one you prefer, just try to get at least 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. And I asked why, because as an individual, you have your preference. You have maybe social media platforms that you prefer to another. And he said, because if you don't create a name for yourself in these other platforms, and you do so well in one platform, it will be easy for someone to imitate you and then create a name for you in those other platforms and probably ruin your image. Let's say, for example, the person created that to scam people or do something in the negative. It's definitely going to ruin the other platforms or the other presence that you have. Definitely going to ruin your brand. How again can I secure virtual assistant roles? Join freelance platforms. This is the first and the go-to for a lot of persons, for a lot of virtual assistants. Freelance platforms like Upwork, you should have heard of Fiverr, and there is Freelancer, etc. So you can read up these, because if I want to go into details, this can literally take a whole day. If I want to go into details of how to set up your profile, how to do this, how to do that, it's going to be really, really long. So again, how can I secure virtual assistant roles? The third option, the third point is network and then seek referrals. For me, this is my favorite. Why do I say this is my favorite? Because if you come to someone as a referral or as a recommendation, you have automatically scaled the first step in the interview stage. Automatically. It means this person trusts you so well, one. It means this person has a kind of like upper hand with the person that's seeking for your service. So it just takes you a step ahead of every other person that applies for that particular work. So every day you can set, the number of persons you want to meet or know in a day, in a week, in a month. As your strength can carry, you can say, I want to gain 5 new contacts in a month, and then keep the communication going. That's the important thing. And when it's time for these job offers, because you already have a professional online presence that states what you do without a doubt, you will come to mind when they mention, oh, I need a virtual assistant. You'll come to mind because the communication has been there, the network has been there, and then your profile speaks what you do. The fourth option, utilize job boards. You can search for these jobs on Indeed. There is Glassdoor, there is Job Gurus. So just make use of different job boards. And then let me also add that there is LinkedIn, because LinkedIn gives you, a particular, should I call it a tab that you can click and search for jobs. You can even optimize your profile in a way that it notifies you when there is a virtual assistant vacancy in your area. So another way you can secure virtual assistant roles is by offering specialized services. You can even volunteer. For example, you want to work with this company and then maybe you've tried other means you're not noticing. You can decide to volunteer for a month or for 3 months. And before you decide to volunteer, you must know your onions. You must know that, yes, this is something this is something you can deliver on, and then you might just be retained and employed after that. Then you also have cold pitching. Now, this is you going to, people do this the wrong way, because let's say, for example, myself, if we've not had any conversations or we are not connected or nothing, and then you just come to my inbox pitching your business or what you do, I might not take you seriously. So that's why I will stress more on building the network and then gaining referrals over this cold pitching. So you have to build your network, you have to leverage on your existing network, you have to build your skills. And definitely, if you don't provide excellent service, no one is reaching out to you, no one is referring you to anybody. So as much as possible, try to get positive feedback as much as possible. Like every business, there are advantages, there are disadvantages, and the virtual assistant business is no exception. We also have our struggles as virtual assistants, and the very first struggle is uncertain income. Why? Because it's not fixed. It's not even virtual assistant. Your income is not even according to your worth now, not just according to your worth. It's also according to how much the company is able to offer. It's also according to what service the company wants you to render. So uncertain income has to be one major struggle of a virtual assistant. And then there is the client dependence, because you're just relying on the client. If the client contracts you for the job is on. If the client maybe lets you off or lays you off, the job is gone, like that. Then another struggle of a virtual assistant, because it's a remote job, we don't really have benefits to what the normal 9 to 5 workers have. We don't really have that online perks like maybe health insurance, retirement plan, leave, pay time off, and this also affect our work-life balance. So this leads us to our next struggle as a virtual assistant: work-life balance. Virtual assistants often work remotely. So let's say, for example, you take out this time to rest. You might just get a meal at that time to do this and to do that. So you're literally unable to draw the line. When should I be working? When should I be resting? When should I attend to my family? When should I do this? When should I do that? Then another struggle is isolation. Because it's a remote job, you don't really get to see people. Let's say, for example, you're working from the comfort of your home. You see all the vibes, permit me to call it vibes. You see all the vibes that comes with, working in an office, resuming in the morning, greeting your colleagues and all of that. You don't get to experience it working as a virtual assistant. Then there is the communication challenge. There is also the competitive market. Personally, my interest in virtual assistant services sprawled from the COVID-19 phase, where many people were stranded and couldn't go to offices, resume at their businesses and all of that. So I'm like, I really need to earn money that it's not tied to maybe the economy. It's not tied to natural, events and happenings. Maybe if it rains, I can't work, I can't earn, or if it's sunny, or if there's lockdown. So that's where my interest, resurrected from. So there is also the legal and tax considerations, because as a virtual assistant, you need to navigate the legal and tax aspect yourself. The idea of paying taxes, and maybe if you work in the company, they just take the payee from your salary and pay on your behalf. It's not like that for a virtual assistant. We have a competitive market. Many other people are trying to do this. Why? Because virtual assistant jobs are something you can even merge. It's something you can merge with your regular 9 to 5. It's something you can do from the comfort of your home. It's something you can do for 1, 2, or 3 organizations, thereby expanding your means of earnings. So it has benefits and then it has struggles. So I'll just advise that you weigh your options, weigh the risk, weigh the benefits, and then choose. No profession has it all good or all rosy. So you're going to choose the one that you can cope with. But in all, you need to build a diverse client base. You need to set clear boundaries. You also need to manage your finances prudently. You need to maintain work-life balance, even if it's really hard. Working as a VA is really, really hard. But then you also have to continuously improve your skills and services. Don't say, oh, I'm already a VA, or I'm already working for so company, so I can relax. Many people tend to upskill when they're out of jobs. No, you can upskill right on the job. What do you stand to gain by doing that? You stand to gain your place in that organization by probably staying with them for a longer time. So you're not considered when it comes to, layoffs. And you also stand a chance to have like an increased remuneration. Let's say, for example, I started working with this company as a social media manager. And then in between, I learned data entry, and I'm able to fully automate the finance processes of this company onto your computer and all of that. You can now cold pitch. You can now tell this company, you're already in the company, you can now increase the services, or pitch yourself to them what you can do more or what you love to add. And this can also get you a higher pay. So it's I don't say it's as simple as ABC, but it's literally something that you can do. I'm not going to restrict it to maybe someone that studied mass comm or someone that studied marketing. Personally, I studied accounting, and I'm still doing full-time accounting. Like, I'm still pursuing my ICANN degree and all of that. But I also offer virtual assistant services specifically on bookkeeping and inbox management. So you can also decide to do this and decide to do social media management. You can decide to do this and you can decide to do the marketing part of this. And this brings me to the end of my session. I would love to take questions, please. This has literally been a very quiet class. And then I'll still love to hear your questions or your contributions. So I can see Sunday, I can see Taiwo, I can see Jumai, and my namesake Emmanuela Ugoala. Just before I hands up, if you have any question or contribution, kindly indicate or send a message. I'm reading the comments, so I'll see it.
Thank you, Emmanuela, for that very enlightening session. I must confess that I personally learned a lot from what you shared this afternoon. Thank you for your time. Thank you for agreeing to do this. The Lord bless you. Now, I want to throw it out to all participants. If we have questions for Emmanuela, please raise your hand or type it in the chat box so we can do justice to your questions. God bless you. If you have a question, please indicate. You can type it in the chat box so we can work on your questions. Or if there are certain aspects you didn't quite get, you can go ahead and ask.
Okay, I think I will be the one to, ask the question now, because I really do not like where I'm not getting feedbacks. I live literally on feedbacks because it kind of helps me to pattern, my life and then everything else. So my question is, what software do I need to have mastery of as a virtual assistant? I will need someone to say, let's say, for example, if I want to offer social media management service, I need to know this, and that software. If I want to offer bookkeeping services as a virtual assistant, I need to know this, and that software. So the person with the best response, and just one person, I'm going to give the person an optimized LinkedIn profile and then a customized ATS-friendly resume, because that's also part of what I do, write SOPs, CVs, and all of that. So if you have the answer to this question, you can raise your hand or you can comment in the chat box, whichever you prefer. So I can see password manager. Password manager is for, please can you kindly type out the freelancer site so we get the right spelling? Okay. Password manager is not a freelancer site. Password manager is something that you can use to, save passwords for the different social media handles. But right now I'll be typing the freelance site for you. So I'll still need someone to answer this question. Since I've mentioned password manager, you can't really say that again. I want to optimize someone's LinkedIn profile, and for that same person, I want to customize an ATS-friendly resume, which is CV. You're answering the question. Oh, I've already helped you out because you're not specific. Don't just say password manager. You mention the software, you say what you use it for, or you say what service it can help with. Just like I said, password manager can help virtual assistants who specialize in social media management to save the password for the different social media handles. So something like that is what I need. Yes, of course, I'm giving out something that I'll literally take about 15,000 naira for. If I were to do those two things for you, I'll take actually 16,000 naira to optimize your profile on LinkedIn and then get you a CV. So you have to be more detailed in your response. Good evening, and thank you, Emmanuela, for this session. I've often seen vacancies for virtual assistant roles, but I'm hesitant in applying because I really don't know much in those industry. Can someone who isn't conversant in an industry apply for a virtual assistant role? Of course you can. I said in this session that I studied accounting in school, and I'm still actively studying accounting because I'm furthering, my education. And to the best of my knowledge, you cannot go to a university now and say you want to study virtual assistants. I don't think it's any course. So that's to say that people that specialize on that now, or people that do that alongside other jobs, did their own personal research, or probably enrolled for free or paid courses on sites like ALX or Coursera or Udemy. You can also use that. So you can actually do that. I'm still waiting for a response or answer to my question, please. So let me type out the freelance site for you. There is Upwork, there is Fiverr, there is Freelancer. Yeah. So those three are examples. There could probably be more, but these are the ones I'm aware of and can actually search on Google. These days, there is nothing you cannot know except you don't want to know it. There is nothing that you can know. I'm also, available outside these this chat, outside this conversation. You're still talking about password manager and not Jonathan. Can you remember any other tools? I mentioned, talking about software, I mentioned over 10. I was literally working on my time, 40 minutes. So, but I still mentioned over 10. Evernote. Okay, what can we do with Evernote? Emmanuela, what can we do with Evernote, please? So as I was saying before, after this conversation, you can also reach out to me on maybe LinkedIn. I think that would be the easiest. And I've typed my name in the comment section. So you could just type it like that on LinkedIn and then we connect. So after Tuesday, because I have an exam on Tuesday, after Tuesday, I will be ready to answer all your questions concerning, virtual assistants. Before then, you can even search out these things on Google. Emmanuela, please, what do we do with Evernote, or what service do we render that needs that? So I really don't know why we are struggling to get this. We are about 20. Okay, minus me and the facilitator, we are 18%. And then even this platform that we are using is one of them. This Zoom is one of it. So there are a whole lot. Asana, there is Trello, there is Basecamp, there is Google Documents, your regular Microsoft Word, Excel. I mentioned a whole lot. Even to save your files, I advise you use Google Drive as against, your maybe memory card or your flash drive. There is Rescue Time, there is Buffer. So there are a whole lot. Okay, someone has even added. Yeah, this is what I love to see. Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Someone has even added. There is Canva. I know that I didn't mention, graphic design, but this is another part of the virtual assistant services. You can decide to be a graphic designer. This one is even easy to pitch yourself to the company. Why do I say that? For example, there is a top influencer you admire on maybe LinkedIn or Facebook. You can see that the person is approaching maybe 10,000 followers, and then just try out your work and design something to say, congratulations, or we hit 10K followers. Like that, there is really an easy way or subtle way to gain access to a person. You don't have to go about saying hi in everybody's DM, because nowadays people hardly have time to reply highs. So there is ChatGPT, AI research tool. I mentioned that. There is Grammarly. I didn't mention that. Thank you again, Mr. Solomon, for checking errors. Grammarly is for checking errors or write-up. So if you're a content creator, a social media manager, you can just type on Grammarly. Grammarly can also help you rephrase your words. There is Hootsuite. There is a lot. So now we have our Princess Emmanuela Solomon. Okay, I'm just seeing Moses comments. Okay, and I said just one. So please do me a favor, Mr. Moses, my namesake, Emmanuela, Mr. Solomon, Princess, and Jonathan. Please do me a favor and then hit me up on LinkedIn. Just message me on LinkedIn. So I'm going to do something for all of you for just commenting, right? Thank you so much. I'm going to do something. So it's either going to be a LinkedIn profile optimization or a CV or a cover letter, just something. So thank you so much. And thank you so much, Ma. Taiwo said, what about me? Taiwo, let me see. I'm scrolling to see your message. How can we get the software for the vets? I think you meant virtual assistants. So these softwares are online. You can even download some on your phone. Some are online, some you can, for example, that Grammarly is something you can just open on your browser. So whichever browser you use, Internet Explorer or your Mozilla Firefox or Google, you can just type it there. I hardly download these things. I use most of them, via the search engines. So for example, Asana, I just type it there. You can just like Google Workspace, you cannot really download Google Workspace, to your mobile, but you can access it via your devices because it's online. It needs data. Like Google Documents, for example, needs your data to work. And that's why I prefer that to Microsoft Word. I prefer Google Docs to Microsoft Word because Microsoft Word, your system can crash and then you lose access to those files if you didn't put it on your drive. But with Google Docs, it's automatically saved. So even if your system, there is a problem, you can access it from any other device. So I think Taiwo said you use Grammarly. Taiwo, this is not really the answer. Okay, the person that really answered this, let me check. Mr. Solomon really answered this, and Mr. Moses really answered this because they mentioned the software and they mentioned what it was used for, and also Enor Jonathan really answered this, right? So I think that's all. Please reach out to me. Let me, I think you can continue, ma'am. Let me just write names of the people I said should reach out to me, so I don't have, literally everybody reaching out to me to say I did this when they didn't comment. So thank you very much, ma'am. I hope I'm not alone on the call. Please, you can hear me. Okay.
Emmanuela, you are not alone. Like Liverpool, you'll never walk alone.
All right.
We get back in. We get back in, as Victoria Renze says in her song. I love the song. Okay, so I really appreciate your session. It's been eye-opening because I won't lie, for a long time I was looking for somebody to take this class on becoming a VA. And then I got a video. I don't know. I think you shared it of these Ugandan kids dancing.
Yes, I shared it. I shared it.
Awesome. So Lucy Ndubisi gave me that video on WhatsApp, and I was like, okay, let me check you up on LinkedIn. That was how I just stumbled and saw what you were doing, and I said, yes, thank God I have somebody to teach our people on how to be a virtual assistant. God bless you. I really appreciate this class. This sacrifice means a lot to us. We appreciate you, ma. God bless you. Do enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we are moving on with our program, and I want to appreciate you all for still sticking around. Without further ado, we want to invite our next speaker to the podium. Her name is Stella Inabo. Stella Inabo writes articles for B2B brands in the tech industry. She currently works at Float as a content writer. She holds a BSc in International Global Studies and believes in constant learning, going by the several certifications she has. I first came into contact with her work through a LinkedIn contact called Fiona Campbell-Howes. What happened was I went on LinkedIn and shared my experience with a job offer that didn't go quite well. And Fiona read it and was moved by what I shared, and she just forwarded a Medium piece written by Stella to me. And in the piece, Stella was talking about her experiences as a writer from Nigeria and Africa, and I could relate with all she was sharing. And from there, I began following her. And so when it came for us to treat this topic, I reached out to her, and we thank God she said yes. Without further ado, I invite Stella Inabo to the podium to talk about the 5 challenges she faced as a freelance writer from Africa and how she dealt with them. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful introduction. So I'm going to share my screen because I did a whole Canva presentation. Let's see. Okay, Iyabo, you have to, can you give me permission?
I've just done
so
that.
I can share.
Try it again, please. I've just done
okay. Great. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can. I can, from my end, I can.
Great. Okay, so made a whole presentation and let's begin. So for context, I started freelancing in like 2018 or 2019. I can't remember the exact date, but that was around the time I began. And I didn't really know anyone who had done that before, like freelanced. And I had to learn a lot of things on my own. And also because I'm from Africa, there were just some things that were different from me because of some restrictions that came from just living in this area or part of the world rather. But nonetheless, I believe that there's always a way if you try hard enough, and obviously if God helps you. So there's that as well. So let's begin. So the first problem that I had was thinking of freelancing as something that I'll just go into and then make money. It was like a side hustle. I didn't really put thought into it. Let's just see how much money I can make. But the thing about freelancing, whether you decide to be a freelance web designer or a content writer or whatever field you go into, it's a business. You have to invest in it. You have to create like a plan for how you will grow the business. You have to figure out what type of customers you're targeting. You have to understand how you are going to reach out to those customers. You need to understand how to keep your pipeline of customers full consistently. And you need to figure out things like payments and all of those other considerations. So for me, when I just started, it was just like, okay, anything that happens, let me just try and make the money. But I really struggled. I didn't know how to get customers consistently. So some months I'll just be rolling in money. There's just money coming in because I'm getting work, right? Some other months I've not pitched, I've not reached out to anybody. So I don't have any income coming in. So when I changed my mindset and I was like, okay, this is a business, I started thinking of how I'll reach out to people consistently, or reach out to old clients and ask them for work, or how I'll set up payment systems so that anyone who wants to pay me can easily pay me. I had templates that I started using. I didn't register a business name, but I would advise that when you can, maybe later on, you either register a business name or consider doing that. And another thing that people don't do, especially when they start out, is getting a tax number. Outside of the world, or rather, let me not generalize, but in Nigeria, you're not really incentivized to pay tax sometimes. But the thing is that without a tax number, you might not be able to work with some companies. So these are things that you just need to put in place so that you don't start scrambling. And also so that the person who you're working with knows that you're a professional running a business. So to summarize this point, when you get into freelancing, don't think of it as something that you just do by the side. Create a plan on what you want to sell, how you get clients, and how you are going to grow your business. So the next part is finding guidance and community. If you are freelancing, that means you are your own boss, you are building your own structures, you are funding yourself, you are working from your own office. You don't have a boss. You don't have people who you can share your struggles with, especially if you are from like Nigeria, where freelancing wasn't a thing until a couple of years back. You won't really be able to talk about like the struggles that you have, and it just makes things like very, very, very hard because you feel like you're alone, especially if you're working from home. So my own personal experience was that for like sorry, have you guys been seeing my screen since? Because I just got a notification that participants can now see your application. Has everyone been seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was worried. Okay, so for me, when I started out, I was doing things on my own. I didn't know how to do a lot of things. I made a lot of mistakes, and I had so many issues that I couldn't talk to people about because they didn't know, like people just didn't know about what I was doing. Then I started looking out for people who did the things I did. I started looking out for communities on Slack, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and I started to connect with other people who have the same type of business as I did. And it made it easier for me because if I had questions about finding clients, about jobs, about processes, about payment systems and all of that, I had people to go to. And when things got hard, because like in freelancing, it always gets hard. There's some months, as I said, you will just have tons of jobs coming in. Some months you pitch and nothing's coming in. You need, like, it's very important to have someone you can talk to about that. So for times like that, I would speak to my friends who were also trying to build their freelance business, and they will encourage me. There'll be times that they'll be low. I'll encourage them as well. So if you're just starting out, I'll suggest that you should look for groups or communities that have people who are building the same type of business like as you, or people who want to build the same type of business. For example, I'm a content writer, so I will look for groups for content marketers, content writers, content specialists. And so I have these suggestions here. This is Freelance Coalition of Developing Countries, which focuses on people who are in developing countries all over the world and who want to start a career in SEO, content marketing, strategy, all of that. There is a Slack group from there. And then for content marketing as well, there's Super Part, and you have people who could potentially hire you, people who have spent like maybe 10 years in digital or content marketing who can answer your questions if you have any. But these groups are going to be specific to the path you are taking. So for example, if you're going in the virtual assistant part, you might need to find like groups or communities that are focused on that. So and there's like a really easy hack for doing this. All you need to do is just type your industry. For example, content writing, then you can put Slack groups, or go on LinkedIn, go to the search bar, type in the name of your industry, and I think there are like some filters, like mini filters on top of your screen. So you just click one and click the one that says group, and those will show you like communities of people who are building businesses like you. So point 3, struggling to find clients. This was really, really tough, and it's still a thing. Like no matter how good you are, sometimes just because of where you live, people will not just want to hire you. Sometimes is bias, sometimes is just them not wanting a lot of stress. Because if they're hiring someone who is outside their country, there's paperwork, to be filled. There's just tons of things for people to do, and people are really not interested in that. So they'll rather just go for something or someone who is within their locale. An example in my own life or from my own experience was when I saw this job ad for a sales company. They were looking for, or rather a sales technology company. They were looking for a content writer. So I shared some of the samples I had with the person who was looking to hire writers and everything. He looked at it. He was like, "Oh, I really like this, blah, blah." He was really impressed. Then the issue of my location came up and he was like, "I'm sorry, I can't hire you. Like, you're a perfect fit. Everything's fine, but I can't hire you." And I bargained, I thought of different ways. I was like, "Okay, you know what, hire me as a contractor or do this or do that," just so that the person would give me that job. But it did not happen. So over time, what I started doing is streamlining, or let me not say streamlining. What I started doing is going to places where people want me. So the good thing about the time we live in is that there's a lot of focus on diversity. I'm sorry, someone's mic is on. I need you to turn it off. Okay, I think it's off now. So in the time we live in, more companies in different countries are open to being diverse. They're open to hire international talents. They're open to working remotely. So there has never been a better time to look for international clients or to freelance and look for international clients as now. So I'll just say be very selective when you are looking for companies, because if you send out 1,000 pitches to companies that do not want to hire you because of your location, no matter how good you are, the chances of them changing their mind is very slim. So I'll just say conserve your energy for people that want you. So one thing that I started using was one thing that I started doing to streamline my search was to just focus on places that were huge on diversity, places that were huge on remote work. And also, if I'm trying to reach out to someone, I would go to their company page and just try and figure out if they hired people remotely, worked with freelancers. And also, whenever I started speaking with Olubumi, could you please mute yourself?
Sorry.
Thank you. So whenever I would reach out to someone from the beginning of the conversation, I would make sure I'll ask, or I'll mention my location, like, "Oh, I work from Nigeria. Are you willing to hire me despite where I am?" And get that out of the way. Because I don't want to put time and energy into creating proposals, into dreaming about the money that I'm going to make. And then someone's like, "You know what, you're great and all, but there's no space for you here." So I think that's something that everyone should do. Just take the time to research and only reach out to people who are going to hire you. If someone cannot work with you because they maybe believe that people from relocation can't do the work, or because of constraints, legal constraints, then I don't think you should put yourself through that stress to try and work with them. Okay. Number 4, payment struggles. My God, even if I had gotten work and someone was satisfied with everything I did, and then they won't pay me, it will always be so stressful. And there are 2 major factors that made it stressful. Nigeria has a lot of restrictions created by mostly central bank regulation. Then there's also just generally the perception of Nigerians outside because of things like fraud and all of that. Some platforms don't even let us use their payment options. And then also like some of these payment options are not just available in our own side of the world. And then clients who want to send money to you through PayPal, most of the time they don't understand why they can't use PayPal. It's just like everyone uses PayPal. Why is your country different? And obviously you don't want to start getting into that, like, oh, these are the issues and all of that. So what I used to do back then, I had this friend who was living in the US, and he would give me his PayPal account. I'll send it to my clients, and that's how I was collecting my money. And at some point, I opened a domiciliary account, and then people would just send money via wire transfer. But it didn't always work. There were times that the client would just be unable to send my money because it was so stressful. And trust me, if someone struggles to pay you, there's a very high chance that they're not coming back to work with you. So what I found helpful during that time was to open accounts on places like TransferWise, which is called Wise now, Pioneer, there's Gray, there's GigPay, I think Cheaper, I'm not sure about, no, not Cheaper Cash. I think Cheaper Cash gives you virtual bank. Virtual cards. I don't know about bank account. But basically, any trusted platform that gives you USD or a pound account or euro account, you can use that to receive money. But the thing is that sometimes you just have people who can't pay you through those channels because maybe all they use is PayPal. And in that case, there are two ways to go about it. You can risk it and open a PayPal account, knowing that PayPal might decide to block your account, because even if you use a VPN, if money enters and you just feel like there's something suspicious, they can block your account, your money's gone. Or you can just sort out the issue of payment from the get-go. I always advise people to have the payment conversation from the beginning. And you should, I would say you should ask people, what's your process of payment? Right after you agree on the budget, ask them, because you don't want to put in so much work and so much time only for you to discover that the person cannot pay you. That is terrible and it is very, very stressful. I'll just say, if you can, just get some form of a USD account. A lot of them, if you're opening a domiciliary account, you don't necessarily need to have you don't need to pay money to open it, depending on the bank you're using. So it's good to start with that. Then later on, as you make more money, you can move to something like Pioneer or Wise, which requires some form of funds to set up. But I think like Gray and GigPay are free to set up. Then the fifth one was power supply and stable internet. This one is an infrastructural issue, to be honest. So no matter, and it depends on what country you're from. Countries that are, if there's stable light in your country, this might not be a problem for you. If you're in Nigeria or Ghana, and yes, I say Ghana because I worked from Ghana before and I had problems with power supply. If you're in countries like that have like power issues, you need some form of backup, because literally your workspace is in your laptop and your laptop needs to power. You can't do 1 week, no light. Like, that is not sustainable at all. So if you are going into this, you need a contingency plan. I would say if you have a little money to invest, you can get an inverter. Sorry, the little money is not for the inverter, it's for a laptop power bank. You can get a power bank that can keep your laptop alive for some days before you get power back, or you can invest in a generator or an inverter. These things are expensive, right? But then in the long term, they save you from the stress of losing clients. A very low-cost solution is working from a workspace or a cafe. A workspace, depending on where you live in, you might be able to find like a dedicated workspace that maybe you pay like maybe 2,000 naira or something per day, and then you have like a desk and chair and you can work. Or you can just go into like a cafe somewhere, plug in your laptop and work from there. It just depends on your environment. So, but the idea power supply, that's just something that might always affect your work. Then the next thing I struggled with was stable internet. So like internet connection, sorry. So I would get work, I'll be working, and then if I maybe leave where I am to maybe my parents' house or something, the connection is so bad I can hardly get anything done, and it used to be very, very stressful. So I had to, over time, I had to invest in this. This is an MTN router. I want to get the 5G one now, soon. But basically, you might need to you have to be creative. It's either you find like a space where the network is better and always work from there, especially if you have meetings. Maybe if you're just like doing your own work and you're not interfacing with anyone, you can just struggle with the internet by yourself. But if you are on a client's call, you don't want to have internet issues. I even know of someone who had this great opportunity, but because of connectivity issues, person lost it. The company was like, oh, your internet is not stable, so we're sorry, we can't give you this gig. So things like that, this number 5, right, is really not on you. Like you can do your best, but because of infrastructural issues, you might just keep having these problems, but you can do your best to mitigate it by investing in these little things that will just help make things less, will I say, chaotic or volatile. Like even if they take the light for a couple of days, if you have a laptop power bank, you're probably fine with that. Yeah. So this brings us to the end of my presentation. And I would love to hear any questions that everyone has. Thank you.
I enjoyed that presentation because you clearly dealt with the issues as Nigerians and Africans. It's something we all face. And so we'll throw the opportunity out for our participants to ask questions, because I know some of them are already trying to get into this space and some are already facing these issues. So please, if you have a question and you want to talk, fine, raise your hand. If you don't want to talk, please type in the chat box. God bless you, and thanks for sticking around. So Princess Eze says, thank you so much for this wonderful session. Thank you, Princess, for also finding the time to hang out with us this Sunday afternoon. Okay, do we have any other questions? Okay, we have a question, please, Stella.
Yes.
It says, how do you know what a client might be interested to decide who to pitch to?
Okay, so just to clarify, you're asking like maybe, do you mean how do do I know if a client needs my services? Is that what you're asking? Could you help me?
Please,
Just
Jonathan, please throw more light on your question. So we'll move to another observation. So we'll be waiting for you, Eno, please. We have Sandra Inabo Bajon saying, thank you for sharing.
yes, my sister supporting me. I said my sister supporting me.
Wow. I was also wondering that the name was Inabo.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining. God bless you. And thanks for supporting Stella. And we also have Moses Nwokoye. He says, thank you, Stella, for this session. And we also have Taiwo Adelanwa says, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and experience. Okay, so we have a question from Princess Eze. And she says, how do you manage to get your first clients how did you manage to get your first client without a portfolio?
Okay, so funny story. I did have a portfolio. So the thing about the work that I did was that I've been writing for a while. I wrote in university. I used to write in secondary school. But the samples that I had weren't exactly related to what people who wanted to hire me were interested in. So there's that. But I'd always been writing. So the first job that I got, the person asked me for a sample. I went to look for an article that I wrote like a while back, and I just showed him. So he decided to give me a chance. But in the case where you don't really have a portfolio, that's if you are going to writing or maybe something like design, I would say you should take some time to create two things. It's either you create a process of how you go about doing whatever you need to do, or you actually create a sample. So if you're supposed to write for people, take time, pick a topic that maybe a potential client would be interested in, and then create a very short sample and then use that to pitch everybody. Alternatively, if it's something very abstract, like maybe design or maybe product marketing or something, you can pick a strategic part of whatever you want to build, of whatever that field is, and then build it out. Like, okay, if I were to create a go-to-market strategy, this is how I will go about it. Another thing to help you create a portfolio when you don't have any, or at least a sample, is that go through like either job postings or freelancer opportunities, right? Look through it. What are they asking for? Then see whether you can create it on your own and then present that. This is not always applicable, but like roughly, without any data to back this, maybe 90% of the case, you'll be able to reach out to people with a sample you've created or an idea that you have about the process that you follow. Finally, if you don't have a portfolio, what you can do is, I had this idea and then I lost it, but I think, what you can do is to look for the skills you have and then translate it to what they are looking for. If the role you are looking for needs you to be very organized or needs you to be very good at managing projects, you can take something like maybe what you did in university or what you do in your day-to-day life, because literally anything can be taken as a project, and say, okay, I have XYZ transferable skills and I can apply it to this thing here, or this is how I would apply what I have here to this new situation. So I hope that was helpful. Yeah.
Sorry, thank you very much for that answer. So Princess Eze, let's know if you are satisfied. We move on. Solomon Tender says, thank you very much for the lecture. And then we move to Femi Oyelola, says, thanks for sharing, Stella. I learned a lot from this session. And then our boss said, J. Benson says, thank you, Ma. So we are moving on to, okay, so that's I think that's about it.
I think Enyo asked the question again.
Okay.
How do you know what the client will want, or if they will be interested in watching? So and for a freelance writer to take care of XYZ need for our blog, or I go myself and then look at their blog and say, okay, these people need a writer. So you always look for gaps. If you can't just go and meet people who don't want your services, except like you're planning to generate demand for the future. But the way you know is either the person has already requested it, or you go and look for a need that they have, then show them that, okay, there's this thing that is missing and I can help you provide an answer to what you need, or I can help you fix XYZ problem. You always look for the demand. For me, it would be going to someone's blog and seeing that maybe the last time they posted was 2022. This is 2023. So it's either they don't have a writer to write for them, or their content program is maybe shut down. So I don't know, but I'll reach out to them and say, okay, if the problem is you needing a writer, I'm a writer, here are my services. And sometimes you can just reach out and ask, like, okay, do you need help with XYZ thing? I noticed, let's say, I'm not sure if this is how it works for virtual assistants, but let's just use it. Let's say, for example, you notice there's this busy professional in your network and everything, and you can see that maybe the person posted about, oh, there's so much for me to do, blah, blah. I wish I had someone to help out. That's the perfect opportunity to pitch. So I'll just say, look out for opportunities and push yourself ahead to where there's demand. Where there's demand, just put yourself out there and say, I can do XYZ thing for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And then Ataiwo Adela Nwa says, how do you cope with non-speaking English language? I didn't quite get that question too.
Oh.
Maybe he wants to say, how do you cope with getting jobs as a non-native English speaker?
If that's your question, let me tell you something. If you have written WAEC and you went to a Nigerian university and you were taught in English, you are an English speaker. See, the thing about colonialism is that basically it works that in a way that you are taught everything that you need to know to be, let's say, a white person, but you are not given the rights that will necessarily come with being a white person. If I'm filling out an application and they're asking for what's your speaker level, this Apple native speaker, because that is what I've been taught since when I started out in life. If you studied in English, university, secondary school, you are a native speaker, put it there. But then it just depends on the context. If maybe you know that your proficiency in English is not as good, maybe you can choose another level. But I believe that because of the educational system I have in my country, I basically am a native English speaker. I speak English and write English better than a lot of other people that grew up in these places. So that's my approach anyway. I think you missed a couple of questions. I'm seeing someone asking.
Yeah, somebody says, Princess Eze came back to say thank you, Stella, for the wonderful answer. And then Emmanuela BA says, thank you, Stella. My question is, what qualities or skills make you stand out as a freelance writer from a developing country for a full-time writing opportunity in foreign companies?
Okay, so there's this thing that I recommend to everyone, and then I'll relate it to myself. When you want a role, right? Way before you even get to that point where you're applying, go through the job boards and then start checking for the skills that they are asking for. When I started out, it was easy to say, okay, I'm a content writer, I write, I know SEO. I started noticing that if I am applying for roles or I want this and that, people started looking for, they would say, okay, they want someone who has an understanding of content strategy. They want someone who knew how to use search optimization tools. They want someone to do this. They want someone to do that. So once I realized that, I started looking for those skills and I decided to go and get them. So I took SEO certification courses. I've done content strategy courses. I'm even considering maybe shifting industries to somewhere else. So I'm looking for entry-level certifications for those type of things. So basically, the idea is that nobody really ever just has these skills. You look at what the people who want to hire you are looking for, then go after those skills. And sometimes you might have to take a course. Sometimes you might have to look for a mentorship program. Like for me, for the content strategy thing, I had to look for a mentorship program and get someone to teach me. Then I took a course. Then I still actively reached out to people and asked, okay, can you teach me XYZ thing? Once you have those in demand and hard to get skills, it is easier for people to want to hire you because they know that they cannot feel that they can't feel that position with anyone else because you have those skills. So that's what I would say. And then also try and build try your best to build relationships with people because that's people within your industry who have a little more experience than you, because that is how they are able to tell you that, okay, you see, this is what you should be focusing on right now. This is what you should be building. This company is hiring. I'm going to recommend you for this and that and all of that. So it's a lot of factors that help you get like a role in a full-time or maybe a contract role with an international company. But these are the things that come to mind for me.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Stella. Then we have Inspire Me More. He says, I'm a computer engineer. I have been trying to get on digital marketing and sales, but getting this started has been a misunderstanding. I can't get what he says, right? But he says, I've just learned a lesson today. Thanks, ma. He's not really asking questions. He's making an observation. And then we have Solomon Tenda. He says, kindly recommend a good laptop power bank brand.
Yeah, I have sent him the one that I was using.
Okay, you already
I replied you in the chat and I sent you the name. Let me send you the number of the person I bought it from. You can reach out to them. They're called Gadgets a lot, so you can reach out to them. Shipping is free, I think.
Awesome. Okay, so Eno Jonathan comes to say.
There's Taiwo's message. He asks, how do you get clients and know what he or she wants? I answered, yeah, have we? I felt like I've not found, I answered the question that was related to how to know what your client wants, but the how to get clients part, I think this is different. Or Taiwo, have we answered your question? Taiwo. Okay.
Okay, Taiwo, if you are still here, please let's know if your question has been answered. And then we will move on to, okay, this Taiwo Adenawa says, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I think I read that already. And then Moses Nwokoye comes back to say, are there free platforms for creating a content writing portfolio?
Yes, there are. I'll recommend some, but to be honest, you know what, let me just show you how. Let me just share my screen again. If you guys want my portfolio. So this, I would explain why I did this, and I will also explain the problem with this type of portfolio. Okay, so this is my portfolio. It's a Google Doc. This is basically most of the writing that I have done over several years, but this isn't even complete. So I categorize this by the niche that I've written for, customer, and then I linked to the published pieces. I indicated which ones are ghostwritten. I have some personal articles and all of that. And it's in a Google Doc, and this has gotten me jobs. The only problem with this is that this is information for maybe a recruiter or for a client. So what I recommend is that depending on who you are, who you want to work with, you can just pick some what's the name? You can just pick maybe some articles and then highlight them and say, oh, this is why these ones are great and all of that. Let me show you there's one on my website. Hope this thing will load quickly. Let me see. So I also have this portfolio page on my website that is gonna load very soon. And I just explained these are the places that these are the topics that I like to cover, and see 3 samples, and just basically making it easy for the person to find what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. But I will definitely share. Why can't I find my Zoom? Oh my God. Okay. Give me a second, please. Sorry. So I'll definitely find some sites and share them with you, but you can just use a Google Doc, to be honest. So make it like very simple for yourself. Portfolio sites. Let's see.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that. Let's see if we have questions. Okay. Okay, you answered that. So somebody says, what areas per field do you freelance for? You already answered that.
Yeah.
There are no questions right now. Okay. So if we have no questions, we will want to release Stella to face her other duties. Or do you have anything you want to say?
No, I think I've covered it mostly. I'm really glad that you guys stayed and listened to me. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much for asking questions and just generally making this a very great talk and presentation. So yeah. And if you need any more help, we have questions, let me post my LinkedIn here. You can reach out to me. I cannot promise that I'll get back to you immediately, but I will do my best to answer everyone's question. So I have posted my LinkedIn there.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, Stella.
Okay. Take care.
We appreciate you. Bye-bye. God bless you. So basically, I wanted to say something before we move to our next speaker. And what I wanted to say is the fact that we bring all these people to show you that what we talk about is doable. The fact that you see other people doing it shows you that you can also do it if you do not quit. If you are committed to the cause, you will definitely get there. These are people who are Nigerians. They are flesh and blood. So many of them, they are on my WhatsApp and they are doing so well in this space. And so if you have the desire to do it, I believe you can also do it. It's just a matter of time. Just keep plugging at it. Develop relationships with some of these people. Don't just go to her LinkedIn. Read her posts. You will learn a lot. It's not just for her to give you personal attention. Sometimes you learn a lot from afar. So get on his LinkedIn, get on our LinkedIn, discuss with them, read their posts, and I believe we will all get, because our goal in the House of Wisdom is to help people to rise up in the digital field, because there are so many opportunities, but like every opportunity, it doesn't come cheap. We have to pay the price. You can say, you see what she said, that she had to learn a lot, she had to make a lot of mistakes. These are all, it's all called problem solving. But the painful thing is you find people who have been at this thing for 2 years and they are quitting. Meanwhile, their breakthrough is almost around. So I will urge us, for those of us that are already in it and those who are coming, just enter with a never say die attitude. Just tell yourself, this thing must work. If it has worked for Stella, if it has worked for Martinagila, if it has worked for so person, it will work for me too. And so I want us to get to that point, because that is when we will begin to see results. That is when we will be able to say, yes, I have achieved my goal. And so thank you for sticking around. We will call on our next speaker. She's been around for a while, and I really appreciate her patience, not only her patience, but her persistence and her desire to touch our lives with the knowledge she has garnered in content strategy. I'm talking about no other person than Olamide Akinde. Before I invite her to the podium, I would like to read a short intro. Olamide Akinde is a content writer, social media manager, copywriter, and digital marketer. She helps brands attract the right audience, grow their online presence, and generate leads. Due to her passion for writing and marketing, she has educated 400 plus people on how to monetize their skills online. She has also been able to help other brands achieve their online goals and recently ranked as 130th top female content creators on LinkedIn in the globe. We are not talking about Nigeria, the whole globe. Olamide will be taking us through how to create content that converts on LinkedIn. Without further ado, I invite Olamide Akinde to the podium.
No, I'm not saying what you do really good, but I'm saying that.
Olamide, you are muted, please. Okay. She will get back with us and she'll get on the podium. But meanwhile, I just wanted to recap some of the things that Stella talked about, because I wanted us to have that conversation around challenges, because you know, you introduce something to people and they start and then they begin to have issues. And so I said, no, we are not just going to throw out the opportunities. We are also going to have a conversation around the challenges. And I tell you, the challenges are real, as in they are real. And I'm so grateful that Stella made justice to that. And so Olamide is back, and so let's have our class.
All right, good evening, everyone. I trust you can hear me very well. Please, if you can, let me know.
We can hear you.
All right. I'm so sorry for the network issue back then. I had issue with my other phone, which just the screen just went blank some hours ago, and I don't know why. So I'm really, really sorry that I won't be able to present my screen and for some other reasons. But I promise tonight's section will be very great, even with or without presenting my screen. I just want you to follow me because I'll be sharing some tips that has helped me on LinkedIn get jobs, get clients, and get recognition. And it all evolves around creating content that converts. So if you're really excited to be here with me tonight, I want you to drop in the comment section what you like, your anticipation, what you love to learn. Please, 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 let's make the class fun. It's our class, not my class. I'm not here to present. I'm here to have a discussion with you guys because I believe we are families. So please, we are a family. Let me see in the comment section what are your anticipation, what are you anticipating for, what will you really love to learn during this class as regards creating content that converts. So maybe you've been creating content on LinkedIn and it hasn't been converting. And this is not just about LinkedIn, other social media platforms. Maybe you need clarity on whatever that evolves around promoting your product or service through content. Let me know in the chat box. Just put it there and I'll be really, really happy to hear from you so that I can know the areas I need to focus on during this presentation. So thank you so much, Ma. I'm really, really grateful for the privilege that you give me to be here with this wonderful people. I'm very grateful. Thank you, Ma. So to make this section short, because I wouldn't want to take much of our time, due to the fact that some people might have 1 or 2 programs they want to run this evening. So I would love to go straight to the point. Okay, Falakemi said, I'm looking forward to learn about ads. Okay, just make 1 or 2 things that is regarding how you can create good content and copy that can attract people to your ads, but it won't be a major thing today. All right. So one question that I'd love to ask you, if you're listening to me right now, is when you have a question, maybe a terminology that you need clarity on or whatsoever, where do you go to? So I'm giving you 5 seconds to answer that within yourselves. You don't need to type in the comment section. And if you want to, you can go ahead. So where do you go to? Maybe you saw a very big grammar or a very big terminology that you need clarity on. I need detailed clarity, how it works, what it does, how it can help you. Where do you go to? Okay, thank you so much, Falakemi. Falakemi said Google, and that is true. So when you type your question on Google, what do you see? You see content, right? Why do you say content? You're seeing content because content is the most reliable tool, most reliable thing to rely on whenever they need clarity, whenever they need information, whenever they need to be educated on something, whenever they need motivation and whatsoever. That is why content is the strongest marketing tool we have today, whether we like it or not. And why do I really love content? Why do I really love creating content that converts? It's because it is a lot more cheaper than, putting out hats and, maybe hiring salespeople to go around maybe from one location to another to help you create awareness for your brand. So I've worked with a brand that we invested a lot of money in Google ads, we invested a lot of money in Facebook ad. I'm not saying ad is not effective. Ad is very effective, especially if you want to get across to millions of people at once. Maybe you are growing very little. I have an offer that you want to put out to a lot of people at once. You can go for ad. But one thing I noticed, and one thing I do advise my clients, is that even before you run ads, you need to be able to have content, good content on your page, that when people see your ad and check your page, they trust you enough to present your offer. So the truth is, it's not just for writers. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're a solopreneur, whatsoever you do, you need to know how to create good content that converts. And what I mean by conversion is that content that helps you gain visibility, content that helps you gain, a community, people that like you, and content that helps you gain people that trust you, and content that helps you transform people that trust you into clients. And that is what we're doing right here today. All right. So I'll be sharing 2 things that you need to focus on when creating content, and that is attention and trust. If you can't get people's attention, they won't trust you, because you don't trust who you don't know. If you can't get people to trust you, then you've wasted the chance of getting their attention, because you may never get their attention again. So for instance, you're able to get my attention, and later on, I found that, okay, your content, your piece of information is not something that I need, or maybe it's not compelling enough. The next day I come across your product, maybe I come across things that you're talking about your service, I won't bother to check it again. Why? Because I have time to spend on other things, and I wouldn't want to waste my time on things and something that don't add up for me. So that is why you need to create content that grabs people's attention and make them trust you. Those are the 2 major things. And that is what I'll be teaching today. How you can grab people's attention and how you can make them trust you so that they can run after you with their money. I know you want that, right? All right. So let's dive deep into it. So how can you get people's attention? You can get people's attention through many means. That is why I do tell people, no matter what you do, even though that you want to start creating content online, you must know how to write good headline or hook. The headline is the first sentence that people see. An hook your hook can even be a word or 2 words. So you must know how to write these things. You must know how to write good hook, how to write good headlines, so that you can grab people's attention. And there are so many ways to go about this. You can do this through fear. For example, 10 reasons why you're leaving a lot of money at the table, or 5 reasons why your business may fail in 2023. So with this, for example, if I am a business owner and I see that hard, 10 reasons why your business will likely fail in 2023, it has aroused curiosity in me and a little bit of fear. So for example, if I am a business owner that I've been struggling with sales, and I come across this kind of content, I'll be intrigued to click on it, check what you have to say, to see if it affects me or not. So that is what we call attention grabbing. You can also use social proof. This is one of my favorites, social proof, and just say what you've been able to achieve. Okay, I know that some people here will be like, okay, what about me? I've not been able to serve any clients. I'm not one of the top female content creators on LinkedIn globally. And so how am I able to do that? You're saying this because you have a large following. You're saying this because you have recognition and whatsoever. This is not true. It doesn't matter. You can share your personal testimony. You don't have to have thousands and millions of clients before you start showing social proof. So for example, it can be your little achievements, because the truth is, no matter how little your achievement is, there's still someone that wants that kind of achievement. So don't be afraid or ashamed to share it. So for example, you can say that I increased my post impression by 20% using this. You won't share all the parts. It's just for you to grab their attention. I know that some people with evidence is okay, 20%, that's low. But there's some people that would really love to learn more about it. It's like, okay, how was she able to increase her post impressions? Let me see what she has. So, and social proof doesn't mean you should lie, because people will definitely find out sooner or later. So now you have fear, now you have social proof. You can also use stats. For example, 18 out of 20 businesses fail in the US. So that is a stat. Many people that maybe they're in line of business they own a business or want to start up their own businesses, they definitely want to see to check out what you have to share. So then now you've gotten their attention. How then can you use your content to drag them from their attention stage into trusting you? All right, stay tuned and let Privy share it. Okay, so now you've been able to get their attention. They know what you have to say. They already have a clue about what your content is all about. The next thing you need to do is to deliver your promise. This is so important. Click, because people will consider it as a clickbait. And I've seen a lot of content like this on LinkedIn. And don't say okay because someone used this kind of headline and she later it was later a clickbait and she got likes. It means I should do it as well. The truth is, when it comes to branding, because I believe majority of us here we want to maybe build our brands or rebrand or improve our brand authority. When it comes to this, don't compare yourself with people because some people might be doing something wrong and they may be lucky at once to get those likes. The truth is, even if you get likes on that kind of content, likes is not trust. People can like your post, but it's if it's not making them think about their problem, making them reach out to you, okay, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Then your content is failed. So, all right, how do you now get them to the trust level? You get them to the trust level by breaking down their problems. And when I'm talking about problems, I would advise you in most cases is that you focus on one problem. At first, you can focus on multiple solutions or one solution. In my last webinar, I talked about one problem, one solution, and a CTA. But right now, I would explain one problem, multiple solutions, and CTA, and I'll tell you why. All right. So after taking that problem, you need to to explain why they need it. You need to explain why it is the best choice for them. You need to explain why you're doing it, and you have to tell them what to do next, which is your call to action. Let them they know what to do. If you want to use that content to build your email list, let them know so that they can know what else to do. You can just say that, okay, you can join my email list for more content like this, or you can join my email list to to get notified on my next post on XYZ. So with this, you're creating curiosity, and you can also offer freebie if you have any. Maybe you have a free ebook. It's maybe you've not gotten a free ebook now. You can just download some set of free ebooks, put it in a Google Drive, and tell them that okay, um, subscribe to my email list and get access to my ebook library. With that, you're not the one that wrote those books. And you are using that to, get them into your funnel, get them to trust you because people won't click the link if they don't trust you. And once they see something free that you want to offer, they will definitely, it will heighten their trust level to follow you and do whatever you want them to do. All right, so let's now go back to the one problem, multiple solutions, and CTA technique. So one problem is you identify your target audience. For me, I have multiple target audiences. And I believe that some of you here as well, you have multiple audiences, but you have to break them down. I have secondary audience and I have primary audience. And most times my contents are tailored towards my primary audience. And some of my primary audience, just for example, they are business owners, solopreneurs, and entrepreneurs. Why? Because I help them create content to increase their personal brand authority on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. So what about my secondary audience? These are people that I train. For example, I'll be organizing a 21-day content conversion challenge to help people who have been struggling with generating leads and getting visibility on LinkedIn to help them, train them on how to write good content that they can use, that has helped me get clients, get recognitions, get hits, that they can also use as well to build their brand authority and help them get clients. So I've explained my primary and my secondary audience. So now, if I want to write a post and I want it to be tailored towards my primary audience, what do I need to do? I need to recognize one audience that I want to target. So let's say I want to target business owners that are struggling with building their brand on LinkedIn. I won't just go that route because it's kind of too general. But if I want to break it down again, that okay, business owners that are struggling with building their brands on LinkedIn, but they invested in personal branding, but it didn't work out for them. So now you can see that I have one audience and I have one problem. Who is my audience? Business owners. What is their problem? They've invested in personal branding in the past on LinkedIn, but it didn't work out. So that is their problem. So with this kind of people, you know that okay, they have so much objections that I need to clear with my content, because if I'm not able to clear it, I'll just get their attention and they'll just leave before reading the head of my post. So now I talk about that problem. I make it personal. Like I let them know that okay, I understand your frustration. I know it can be really tiring to invest in this and this, and I build up a level of trust and build up a level of I build up a balance by telling you that okay, I know that you've gotten it all wrong. You invested a lot on this, you invested your time, your effort, your money, and whatsoever. But let me tell you, you're doing something wrong. And this is the thing you're doing wrong. I tell them the main major cause of that problem. So with that kind of person, while reading the post, they'll be like, okay, this person understands me. This person is, I'm not selling now, right? And that is what you should do in every piece of your content. Don't just, after the headline or hook, don't just go straight to them and tell them you're selling. Why? Because people are skeptical. They know that there are a lot of people out there that are just after their money. And if you do this, you can get their attention, you can get the post impression, but you won't get the right people to reach out to you. And that is it. All right. So now you've talked about their problem, you've shared, you've make it personal by telling them that okay, you understand their problem, this is what they're doing wrongly, and you can see that these are the causes. Now the thing you have to do is now profile multiple solutions. So for someone like me, I promote content marketing a lot because to me and to people that have really been into the business, it's the best form of marketing anyone can invest into because it's cost effective, there's no technology barrier, you don't have to pay someone, so maybe they will say help for you. And what I mean by paying is that you don't have to maybe pay, for example, you don't have to maybe pay LinkedIn for your content to be there. For example, if you are into organic content marketing, you're not investing in hard. Your content, even if it's a year there, people will still see it, unlike hats. And please mind it, I'm not criticizing hats. I've worked with people that have used ad and we used ad to drive in multiple leads for their businesses. All right. So now, after that, what you need to do is to profile multiple solutions. So, for example, you can tell them that okay, you can use advertising to build your personal brand. You can use influencer marketing to build your personal brand. You can use maybe what other you can use some other forms of marketing. Just tell them some other solutions. And now you have to subtly, it's not that you criticize all those solutions. Just subtly tell them the disadvantages of those solutions and present your own solution. So with that, you don't look selfish, you don't look silly, and you don't look like random salespeople. So with that, they're able to think for themselves. And bet me, if your approach is very good, if you are able to clear the objections with your own solution, maybe you do content marketing. If you're able to clear the objections with your own solution, they will definitely reach out to you and hire you. So that is how it works. So let me know in the comment section if you're following me. Just say I. Please, I don't want, just like I said, this is like a deep discussion, and I don't want it to be boring. So if you're following me, say hi. Hi. I want to see your eyes. All right. Thank you, Foluke. Thank you, Princess. I know that we are not three here, right? So please, I want to see my eyes. All right. Thank you. What next? What I want you to know about creating content that converts is that content that converts don't always appear silly. Don't always appear like, okay, I want to grab your money right now. I need your money right now. Okay, you said the noise on the ground is disturbing. No, I'm sorry about that. Okay, Ade Bola, thank you so much. I think that's Taiwo. I think it's better now. Okay, I tell P38. Please, can you just mute so that others can hear us play? Please, can you mute? Okay, all right. So when I talk about content, creating content that converts, I want you to know that it's about taking people on a journey. If you don't have a if you don't have a strong social media presence now or whatsoever, you don't expect to create just one content and thousands of people hire you, hundreds of people hire you, or you see multiple um multiple deals. Why? Because content creation, the truth is, it's a journey. It's about bringing people from awareness stage to the selling stage. It's like a funnel. I can't break it all down in this meeting because I want to save time. So it's about a funnel that you're bringing people in. So you start from awareness stage. That is the reason why I say if you want to create content that really converts online, consistency is key. But if you're consistently doing the wrong thing, you still want to get results. So during the last section, I found out that someone asked about portfolio. The truth is, if you're really good enough in creating good content that solves your target audience problem, you don't need a portfolio from the start. You don't have to go really crazy about portfolio. The first two jobs that I got, I didn't send a portfolio. Like I did not have a portfolio. I was just doing my 10 out of the blues, and I didn't even know that anyone would hire me. Those people just started seeing my content on Facebook groups about things that they are interested in because I've always been into content marketing from the start. And they reached out to me. They were like, okay, I do see your content here. Can you write blog posts? Can you write product descriptions and whatsoever? Even the first person that I met, I was like, okay, I've never done this before. But the trust was there. Why? Because he has been seeing my content. So if you want to really level up your social media presence, you want to attract clients, you need to start putting out content that drives them from the awareness stage to the trust level. Why? Because content creation, it's like dating. When you meet a girl, maybe you're attracted to her by her beauty or by her stature, but you never propose marriage that day. You can just tell her, okay, I like you, can we start dating? And while you're dating, if you find out, okay, this person does not add value to my life, this person has nothing good to offer, my relationship with this person won't yield any positive results, what will you do? You quit that kind of relationship. And that is how content creation is as well. Why? Because when your target audience see your content, they're attracted to you. But they take some of them do take their time. They will take the time to see your content maybe 3 or 4 times before they reach out to you. And the first time they said, okay, this content is fair. The second time you posted rubbish. The third time you posted rubbish. The fourth time you posted rubbish. They'll just walk away. That is why I do advise people that have a content strategy, have a content pillar. It helps a lot, like a whole lot. So that if you want to start getting recognitions, people start knowing you for the right thing. For example, my personal testimony is that recently I ranked 130th top female content creator on LinkedIn in the globe, like over 300 million creators. And that is not just what makes me happy. What makes me happy is that I rank because that is what I do. So if you're creating content and your content is not tailored towards the right thing, tomorrow about technology, next tomorrow about human health, another day about animals. The truth is, people won't hire you, they'll be confused. And even if you're in conversation with people, I've been in that situation whereby people will reach out to me, we have first discussion, second discussion, but I'll still take their time. So after reading my content, they just message me, okay, can we do this? I'm ready now. Why? Because people are very skeptical when it comes to investing their money in things. And you don't want to, just get that first chance and lose it all away. All right. So there are rules when it comes to creating content that convert, and I'll break down some of these rules. The number one rule is personalization. This is so important. When you're writing content, make sure that your target audience feel like they're talking to a friend. Make them feel like it's something they are in. So, for example, most people will advise that you use words like you, I, so that to make them feel more connected. And this is true. And also, when it comes to personalization, you can tell stories so that they can resonate more with your content. So another thing is use active voice. Passive voice, I made this mistake when I started writing back then, just using passive voice. Why is passive voice not good when you're writing content? It's not good because it makes it feel still, like it doesn't really connect with people. So, for example, I have an example here. It says that she wrote those contents. For example, she wrote those contents, but I didn't know. It's far better than writing that the content were written by her, but I wasn't aware or I didn't know. So if you're not familiar with active voice and passive voice, I would really love you to go to Google or any other search engine and learn how to use it well. So whenever you're writing your content, use active voice so that people will feel more connected. So another rule here is that your content shouldn't be too selling. Your content shouldn't be too selling, just like I said back then. So if you come up every day by saying, okay, buy from me, without adding any form of value prior to the buying stuff, people will turn you off. People will just cancel you out of those media content from, and that is it. So I hope you've been able to gather some questions from me because I'm really excited to answer your questions. And I hope I've made some sense so far and shared some helpful tips that will help you in your content creation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Olamide. That was
You're welcome.
explosive. Thank you for your time. Your perseverance caught me, but I didn't want to say it. I wanted you to say to them that you actually had issues with your phone and you still found a way to get on this call. It means a lot to me. And I know that people appreciate your time and your sacrifice. God bless you. It's been worth while. And so we are going to throw the opportunity out for our people to ask questions. Please, if you have any question, type in the chat box or raise up your hand to ask. If you want to talk, fine. Please type in the chat box, and if you can also appreciate her if it's been worth your while. Please, let's have your comments. Okay, so Princess Eze says, thanks a lot, Olamide, for your wonderful teaching. Thank you, Princess. You are highly appreciated. Thank you for saying a big thank you to Olamide on our behalf. Okay, we are still waiting for comments. Please, keep them coming. And if you want to talk, raise up your hand so we can give you an opportunity to ask your question. You can also make an observation. You are welcome. Please, let's have your comments so we can release her to face other things. Okay, Adebola Adewusi says, thank you, Olamide, for this lecture. Taiwo Adelanwa says, thanks, well appreciated. We also have Oluwatosin Milenyi, I hope I got the name right, says, thank you so much, Olamide, for this lecture. And then Princess Eze comes back to say, please, I want to know how you always manage to come up with a great content strategy every time. That's a question for you, Olamide, from Princess Eze. She says, please, I want to know how you always manage to come up with a great content strategy every time. Are you with us, Olamide? There's a question for you here. She seems to, okay. Okay, and no, Jonathan, your observation is noted. Thank you for pointing that out. We really appreciate you. God bless you. And thanks for staying up till this time. Okay, Olamide, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry, I didn't hear Princess' question.
It's from Princess Eze. And she says, please, I want to know how you always manage to come up with a great content strategy every time.
All right, so, well, that's the truth is that's a big topic, but one thing that I have that has helped me is understanding what has worked for me. So when you feel that, okay, you can just break it down. What has been working for you so far? The content that people have been getting tractions on, maybe due to post impressions, maybe due to engagements. So you can just break it down. Okay, on Monday, I want to talk about the mistake I made in my niche that your target audience are making, that you want to make clarity on. So on Tuesday, you can say, okay, I want to address one of my primary target audience major problems. So for example, if you're a writer, you can just want to, you can say, okay, Tuesdays is for educating my target audience on how to, on the mistakes they've been making in their content creation. On Wednesday, it can be personal storytelling that has to do with what you're doing in your brand. On Thursday, you can also come up with something, maybe you want to create carousel or polls. It can be authority building content. For example, the results you've gotten for yourself or for your clients, that's on Thursday, which is authority building content. On Friday, it can be motivational, educational content that tells that, that has to do with your target audience mindset, shaping their mindset towards a particular change that you offer solution for. So for example, if your target audience are business owners and they've been, doubting that, okay, maybe personal branding is worth it, you can dedicate Fridays on showing, on motivating and educating them about the benefits of personal brand. So it's just about knowing what works for you. And you can also, I think I've been able to answer that because I wouldn't want to spend more time on it because it's a little bit broad.
Awesome.
But
Thank you, Olamide, for that. I believe Princess Eze can come back and let us know if her question has been answered. Please, if you have a question, type in the chat box or raise up your hand. Otherwise, we'll release Olamide for the day because she's tried a lot, having had to go through so much with the phone and still being able to make the class. We bless the Lord for the opportunity. Oh, Princess Eze says, thanks so much, Olamide, which means she is satisfied. Okay, any other questions? And if you don't have questions, please let's appreciate her in the chat box. Please let's appreciate her in the chat box. God bless you all. We appreciate you for sticking around up till this time. Okay, in the absence, okay, so Inspire Me More says, thanks so much, really appreciate. how can we be sure that our content is in a well-written manner?
Okay, there's something I call structure, and it's one of what I'll be teaching my students during the 21-day content conversion challenge that we're about to embark on. So the structure, one of my structures that I really love to use is I use the headline, the headline or the hook. That is one part. The other part, it can be to my personal story. So something like, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and this is what it has gotten me to. So I have my hook. Maybe I used fair. Let's say I used fair. I used storytelling. Then the third part, which is the structure of my post, is talk about problem. The fourth part is sharing actionable tips. About that problem that I just shared. Actionable tip that will help them solve that problem. And the last part is my CTA. So my CTA can be join my group. My CTA can be turn on the notification bell. And this has really worked for me because there was a time, one of the things I also said during the class, there was a time someone read my content and she was like, okay, I've been reading your post on turn on my notification bell, but I feel that today is worth it because I really got value from your content. And she went ahead to my profile and turned on my notification bell. Just like I said, content creation is a journey. You have to keep doing it, keep putting it out there, have your own structure, and keep nailing it until you get that result. So I hope that the structure that I shared will really help you in your next post. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, then Eno Jonathan says thank you. Okay, so on behalf of the House of Wisdom, I would like to appreciate Olamide Akinde for making this invitation. Despite us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the impact your words have had on our audience this evening. And we pray that whatever you do prospers. And inspire me more. How do we join the tutorial?
Okay, yeah, you can send me a direct message on the group. So on WhatsApp, you'll see my number there, or maybe I can just type my number here, my WhatsApp number. So chat me up, then I tell you the full information about the group.
Okay, awesome. So you can inspire me more, chat her up through DM. Don't let us see you, it's between you and her. You can do it right here before we close this class. So you can get her details. And also I will encourage all of us to follow our speakers from the get-go. All the people that are featured on this platform, please go there's something called mentoring from afar. Read their posts, engage. That is how we learn. That is how we develop. So go online, follow Olamide, follow Stella Inabo, follow Emmanuela Ugoala. Learn more from what they share because I'm surprised at what they share on LinkedIn. I won't lie to you. It's like a uni to me because people come there and they share vital information that can help your life, that can help your business. They don't hold back. So get on these platforms and engage with people, and I believe you'll find a lot of help. And then we also have Cinderella Grace saying, Olamide dear, thank you so much for your time and impacting so much knowledge. God bless you and prosper you always. Thank you, Madam Cinderella Grace, for that observation. God bless you. And so we want to say thank you to Olamide Akinde. God bless you. Do have a fantastic Sunday evening. Bye. Yeah, okay. So we bless God for how far He has brought us, and we also want to appreciate each and every soul that is still here. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to us. And so without wasting your time, let me just run through 6 practical ways to overcome fear of failure. 6 practical ways to overcome fear of failure. And you know, in the morning, I shared a post in which I was referencing a study that was done recently by Linkago. It's a social network, and they found that out of 1,083 adult respondents, 31% of them had fear of failure. 31, that's quite huge. That's quite huge. And you know, when I saw the stats, it's not as if I didn't know about it before, but when I saw the stats, I was like, oh, wow. And as Christians, I know for a fact that fear of failure holds us down. It keeps us below our potential, because you are in this space where you are afraid of 1,001 things before you even step out. As a result of the fear, you won't even step out. And it's amazing that some of the renowned people in society also faced fear of failure. And during my research, I found out that Tyler Perry is a movie person in the US, also faced fear of failing. And this is a quote from him. I quote him verbatim now. He says, be modest and patient. Be modest and patient. Allow your dream its own time to grow. Dreams need to be tended like crops before you can enjoy the harvest. And this is important. Don't get hung up on the outcome. Hand over that to God. That means don't bother about the outcome of what you want to do. Remember, he is the one at the wheel. Of course, and he confesses, of course, I was afraid of failing, but I held on. That is Tyler Perry. He's a billionaire right now. But he said he faced the fear of it. That means this fear is real, very, very real. But you know, the Bible, which is our book of instruction, when you look at 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, in the New King James Version, it says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Wow. You know, and I was listening to Apostle Selma, yes, I think so, and he said fear is so powerful that God had to conquer it with 3 things. 3 spirits. That is, the spirit of fear is so powerful that God had to conquer it with 3 spirits. And what are those spirits? The spirit of power, the spirit of love, the spirit of a sound mind. And we have all these in us. So how have I been able as a person to overcome the fear of failure? Because I want this to be practical. I don't want to come and sit here and talk about theory and stuff like that. No, no. I want to talk from practicality, what has worked for me. And so the first one for me is obeying the Lord's command, not to fear. Obeying the Lord's command, not to fear. It's actually a command. And you know, in this kingdom in which we are soldiers who say yes to whatever the Lord says. And we can establish it in the Bible. When you read Joshua chapter 1 verse 6, KJV, Joshua 1 verse 6, you will see God telling Joshua, be strong and of a good courage. For unto these people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. So God was commanding Joshua. And the same way he commanded Joshua, he's commanded you and is commanding you and I to be strong and of a good courage. You know, when you read Tyler Perry's story, I once shared it in my newsletter. And if you're not on the newsletter, please get on it. Just send me a DM on my number. Let me put you on the list, because we are sharing life-altering stuff through that newsletter to the glory of God, not to the glory of any man, because he's the inspiration behind that newsletter. And so when we shared Tyler Perry's story, we saw how he invested money, lost everything, and this guy says he still held on. He still held. So it's a command for us not to fear. Because Joshua was coming from a space where Moses was leading and Moses had died and he had to take over. And so God needed to promise him that, look, I am with you, just as I was with Moses. Just be strong and of a good courage. Imagine leading millions of people. And when you go through Joshua 1 verse 9 too, it says the same. It says, have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid. It's a command. It's a command, sir. It's a command, ma. We don't have an option. As in, God demands it of us to be strong and of a good courage and not to be afraid. He knows we will face fearful things. But the promise is, as I was with Moses, I am with you. Whithersoever thou goest, I am with you. And so let's hold on to that and say, yes, God is with me. Like, if you are fearful, just go and listen to Victoria Renzi. I get backing. Listen to it till it becomes a part of you. If I listen to that song, I'll put it on repeat from morning till evening. I beg. If you are in my room, you even waiting happen. But that is me. I want it to sink in the deepest recesses of my heart that I have backing, a backing that nobody can remove. And so that's the first thing I did to overcome fear. I realized that it is a command not to fear. And so I have no option but to obey. Like soldiers, when their bosses tell them this is it, they obey before complaining. And in this kingdom too, it is the same. God is not a democratic God. Don't let anybody lie to you. Because we are growing in a democracy, it doesn't mean God doesn't operate a democracy. He operates a theocracy. He rules through priests, through his ministers. And so when he says go, you go. No fear, because he says he's with us. Now, the second thing you should realize that I did to overcome fear of failure is to realize that some people's destiny is tied to mine. Yes. I knew that my rising was going to mean the rising of some people. And so I had no option but to step out in faith. And when you read that Joshua 1:6, you see how God told Joshua that, look, be strong and courageous because you are going to divide this land for these people. This promise that I made thousands of years ago, you are the one that will fulfill it. So people's destiny is attached to your movements. I bet when you come to that realization, you will think twice about not moving. You will think twice about not stepping out in faith. When you realize, even apart from people outside, even your children's destiny is attached to your movements because they are seeing what you are doing. And when mommy is setting the example, when daddy is setting the example, they are sure to follow in that footstep. And so other people's destiny is attached to yours. That is why you should stop procrastination. That is why you should stand up and say, yes, God, I am stepping out in faith. This instruction you gave me, I am following it to the letter. And Tyler Perry also says that. There's this quote that he says, there are people whose lives are tied into your dream. Own your stuff, own your business, own your way. It's a Tyler Perry quote. People's lives are tied. For instance, let me give you an example. Dangote owns a refinery now. People's lives are tied to it because they are taking a salary. They are working there. They are gaining something from working there. And so that is what we mean when we say people's lives are attached to yours. And so that is the second thing that I did, the realization I came to that helped me to overcome this fear of failure. Because when I came to that realization, I was like, I don't bloody care what happens. I am going to do this because of these people. I don't know them. Some of them are in my network now. Some of them have not come in. But I know for a fact that my rising will lead to the rising of some people. And so I have no option but to step out in faith. That is the second one. The third one, because of our time, move in spite of the fear. Get up in spite of the fear. You know, the first day I was going to have a public speaking engagement, it was at Success Digest. God bless his soul. Dr. Sonia Jagba said, gave me an opportunity to speak. And it was my very first speaking engagement. I would lie to you that it was easy for me to do that. In fact, I didn't sleep overnight. I won't lie. My tummy was just rumbling, butterflies were just rumbling, and I felt like calling off the engagements, but I didn't. I went and I did the talk, and I was surprised. At the end of the day, people were really blessed. People were really blessed. So let me address this issue of getting the hard copy of lectures. The video of this training will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, so you can get it much later after editing. We're having some issues with editing, but we will get around it and upload the video, because you can't just put the video without putting House of Wisdom Presents, something as simple as that, you know. At least we must have our copyright on it as the owners of this content. We created it, and so we will put it on YouTube for us all to watch, and it will be free to watch. Okay, so that answers the question, because I think somebody also asked the question earlier on getting the training material, so it will be on YouTube for you to watch. Okay, so the third thing is move in spite of your fear. You know, it got to a stage in my life where I was hugging my fear. You know, when they say hug, H-U-G. In fact, there's a website like that. I don't know if it's still online, but in my search to overcome fear, I launched on this website, hugyourfears.com, which said, hug that fear when it comes. Don't throw it away. Tell him, yes, I know you are here. Sit down with me, but I will do this thing. Sit down here. Yes, I know you are here. Sit down with me. I will still go ahead and do this. And so get on the moving train. The world is moving. Nobody is waiting for you. So I felt the fear during my first speaking engagement, and I did it. And there's this book by Susan Jefferson. She says, feel the fear, but do it. Feel the fear. Feel it, oh, it will be there. In fact, I don't even think we can ever overcome that fear. But when we keep doing, we gain courage, we gain strength, we become unstoppable. That is what happens. And so, for instance, you want to begin to speak in public and you don't believe in yourself. No problem. Just do a Zoom call with a friend, only the two of you, and practice your speaking with only the two of you. Watch what that friend says. Correct whatever she says, and then go on and invite 3 friends more. Do it again. Do it in small bits. Gain feedback. Improve until you get to a bigger platform. Because by the time you keep repeating that confrontation, you begin to believe in yourself. You become good at what you do. So don't just do it once. Repeat like me, I will tell you, matter of factly, confront the fear, as in face your fear. There are some people who cannot live, they can't stay in a house alone. It's a fear. Confront it by staying at home alone and saying nothing will happen. I am here, I get back in. Liverpool says you will never walk alone. I'm never walking alone. God is with me. I get put on Victor Lorenzo's song, be singing it. Oh, face the fear, confront the fear. That is it. But you know, I will tell you that when we talk about confronting the fear, it's not all fears that you confront. For instance, you fear lions. You don't want to go to a zoo and say, okay, I want to enter a lion's den because you fear, and so you want to face the fear. No, that is not wisdom. And we are in the house of wisdom. Let's apply wisdom. But let me give you an example of a fear. You fear to travel through the airplane. You fear flying. Yes, let's say you fear to fly. And you know that there are opportunities for your business if you fly. Confront the fear, because if you do not confront that fear, your business will be stopped. Those opportunities, you cannot take advantage of them. I hope that is clear. So confront that your fear. That is it. And then the fourth point that I use is prepare yourself well, as it reduces anxiety and fear. For instance, if you want to speak somewhere, prepare very well. It will reduce your fear. It will reduce your anxiety. It will reduce your fear. It will reduce your anxiety because you are well prepared. For instance, you want to start a business now. Go out, meet people who are in a similar business. Get people to mentor you. Talk to people who can help you. Look, there's something I've learned in life that I don't joke with, and I tell my children every blessed day. I have also shared it on the newsletter before. People are a defense. Somebody has that knowledge you want, only if you are willing to ask. Only if you are willing to approach the person. But when you keep to yourself and say, I'm an introvert, look, I suffered for so many years because of this tag of introvert. Now I don't tag myself. I am a child of God. I beg this story. I don't want to hear about introvert or extrovert or whatever. I don't want to hear. I am a child of God, simple and direct. Because all these tags will just keep you stuck in a box. You won't be able to move. People build relationships. You are trying to start a business. You are fearing. Look for knowledge. The Bible even talks about it. Study to show thyself approved. A workman that needed not ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Study, learn. Some of us, since we graduated from college, we have not opened a book. It's a pity. You hear when Stella was talking about the fact that she read, she learned so many things on her own. There are so many things I do online that nobody taught me. Nobody taught me how to use Google Docs. Nobody taught me how to make presentations. There are so many things I know how to do that nobody taught. But by tampering with the laptop, tampering with my whatever I'm doing, I'm able to gain the knowledge. And I read, I listen to podcasts. You have to be versatile. You have to know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, fear will be reduced. Because you have a fair knowledge of what you want to do, that fear will be reduced. And so if you want to step out in business, you want to step out in whatever it is, gain knowledge about that thing you want to do. Gain knowledge about that thing you want to prepare well. It reduces a lot of anxiety. It reduces a lot of fear, and it helps you to overcome the fear of failure. Now, the fifth point, because of our time, visualize the other side of fear. Visualize the other side of fear. That will motivate you to move. Because when you look at it and say, oh, if I don't move, 10 years to come, I'll still be on the same spot. But if I move, something will change. Of course, it will be challenging, but God is with me. And so when you look at the other side, I will be stuck. When you look at the other side, I won't be able to achieve this dream. In fact, it even leads to depression because you are in this space where you want to do something and yet you are stuck. You are not able to do it. And then you are like, I'm a failure. You already are condemning yourself because you have not moved. I tell you, nobody will move you. You have to move yourself. Ask God for strength. There are things God will not do for you. He will just give you the enablement. There are things God will not do for you. He will just give you the enablement. You have to do for yourself. Like if you read that Joshua chapter 1, I don't joke with that chapter. You will notice that immediately God commanded Joshua. Joshua commanded the people. That is it. He did not waste time. Go and read that Joshua 1. He immediately God told him, do this, do that. He commanded the people. He told them, go ahead, do this, do that. So what am I saying? God will not do for you what you can do for yourself. And so you have to make up your mind to step out. For those on my newsletter list, you saw how Marie Folio was saying that every blessed thing is figuratable, as in you can figure it out if you make up your mind to do it. Like House of Wisdom, I didn't know many things that we are doing today. I won't lie to you. I didn't even know much about Zoom when we started. I would not lie to you. I didn't know much about Zoom. But I stepped out in faith and I began to educate myself. And so everything is figuratable. You can figure it out if you have the mind to do it. If you have the mind to do it, you can figure it out if you have the mind to do it. Now, the sixth thing, and which is the final one because of our time, change your mindset about failure. Change your mindset about failure. Change your mindset about failure. Stop seeing failure as a bad thing. Give yourself permission to learn by making mistakes. Like Marie Folio says, failure is a faithful attempt in learning. In fact, there's a quote by her, which I've forgotten, in which she says that she does not lose when she starts something. What she does is she either wins or she learns. So get out of the mindset of, when I fail, I lose. Get in the mindset of, I learn or win. So a failure from Marie Folio is faithful attempt. F, faithful. A, attempt. I, in. L, learning. Faithful attempt in learning. So she says, I don't lose hope. I either win or I learn. So get into that mindset. Don't tell yourself, no, I failed. No, you are not a failure. God did not create you to be a failure. You are a winner any day, anytime. But you need to work on your mindset. You need to work on your mind and tell yourself, yes, I can do this. I can do this. If this person did it, I can do it. And let me end this by telling you a story. In 2016, I was in Ghana, Accra, and I was in this neighborhood called North Legon. That's where the University of Ghana is. There are a lot of universities in that vicinity. I usually like an academic environment, so I was there, and I love taking evening walks after work. When I've sat down all day, I'll just go out and take an evening walk. But there was this part of my neighborhood that I never ventured into because it was always pitch dark. I never wanted to venture into it. And so if I was going out, I'll just make a detour. I'll turn to another side. And so there was one day and I told myself, no, this area, I will walk it today. I will go there. And so the first day I went there, nothing happened. And I was like, so what have I been fearing all along? The second day I said, no, I don't believe that I can do it. Let me repeat the confrontation. I confronted my fear again. The third day, I did it. That's how I was like, yes, I have mastered this environment. Now I can enter here, whether it is dark or not, I don't bloody care. I will face my fears. Why did I tell you the story? Most of the things you are fearing, they are just in your mind. I'm not lying. No wonder some self-improvement persons have said, fear is false. F for false, E for evidence, A for appearing, R for real. False evidence appearing real. It's false, but you made it up in your mind and you told your mind it's true. And it's whatever you tell your mind takes. And so your mind is also convinced it is true. If I do this thing, I'll fail. If Chinedu failed, who told you? Chinedu is different, you are different. His skill set is different. His backing is different. You have God's backing. You don't know his own backing. So these are things that we need. It requires a mindset change. Because when you tell yourself you will fail, you won't even try it. I won't lie to you. Because you've told yourself you won't fail, you won't try anything. You will just keep in your small corner. God forbid bad thing. Look, God has not created you and me to be small. I will say this anywhere. God has not created you and me to be small. He created us to occupy space. Go and listen to Moses Bliss. That the way they pamper. Listen to the spoken word artist. He said, he created us to occupy space. You matter. You, listen to me. You matter. God created you for a purpose, and it is a big, big purpose. But achieving that purpose depends on you. It's a partnership between you and God. If you don't step forward, God will not step forward for you. That is just it. That is the way it operates in this kingdom. You have to be the one to say, yes, God, I know this thing. I know you want me to do this thing, and I'm willing. God will not force you. He allows us to exercise our will. He gave us the will, and he allows us to exercise. That's why even salvation is not by force. It's people who come. If you listen to Christ, he says, whosoever. He says, whosoever. He says, I stand at the door and knock. Whosoever will open, I will come in and dine with him. Whosoever. It is not by force. And so there is a destiny hanging on your head. There is a destiny hanging on my head, but it depends on you and me to step out in faith. Because look, let me tell you something. You will never see the whole picture by the time you step out. In fact, you will be as confused as hell by the time you step out. But like Marifolio says, clarity comes through engagement and not through your thoughts. When you sit down, you will never be clear about a project. You will never be clear about a business. You will never be clear about a ministry. But when you engage, when you get on the move, you will gain clarity because you are now in action. You begin to see people come forth and say, this thing you want to do, why don't you do it this way? Like somebody has given me an idea on what to do with this DMM. It's because we are in motion. If we were static, the person won't come because she has not seen me do anything. So clarity comes through engagement and not through your thought. You can't sit down and gain clarity on a project. I won't lie to you. Every blessed day, we gain new insights. We gain because we are moving, because we are not static, despite the odds. Despite the odds. I won't sit here and tell you it's been an easy ride. I won't sit here and tell you it's been a walk in the park, but God has been faithful. The fact that we are even holding DMM 6.2 is a testimony of God's faithfulness. I won't lie to you. People close to me know that I share. It's a testimony of God's faithfulness. But look, when you step out in faith, God is ready to back you up. Because you are like telling him, I trust you. And that means a lot to God. Let me stop there because of our time. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask. Because we have 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go. If you have questions, please type in the chat box. And if you want to speak, raise up your hand and let's have that conversation before we leave. So in the absence of any question, I will call on people who want to, okay, and Jonathan says, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you too for sticking around till this time. Okay, so Emmanuela Akinde, I hope I got the name, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for the encouragement. I've personally suffered with fear for a long time. Oh, wow. Please, I would like to have you in my DM. Can we continue this conversation? I'm at 0803 356 4055 on WhatsApp. 0803 356 4055. If you're outside Nigeria, please remember to add +234 at the beginning. That's if you're outside Nigeria, that's +234 8033 56 4055. Please, let's get fear out of our system because God wants us to do so much more with our lives. You know, there's something that pains me, that even makes me fear. Let me tell you the truth. Something that makes me fear, and I'll tell you today. There was a nurse, she's a palliative nurse, and she cares for people who are at the end of their lives. For instance, who have cancer, who've been told they have just 2 months to live, or things like that. And this palliative nurse took it upon herself to ask these people what their regrets were. And you know, they began to reel them out because they trusted her as their caregiver. Some of them told her they regretted they didn't spend more time with their kids. Some of them told her they regretted they didn't spend more time on the things that mattered most to them. They regretted putting all their time in business, in career, all these things. Please, let's not get to the end of our lives and regret some of the things we should have done. Now is the time to strike. Now is the time to get out in faith and say, God, I'm trusting you to back me on this journey, and he will definitely back you. So please, let's connect on WhatsApp. And we have Jonathan says, okay, Princess Eze, thanks for this wonderful session. And then Jonathan says the entire session was really worth the time. We are grateful, ma. Sunday says, thanks so much for this program. It's been very educative and inspiring, ma. And then Emmanuela B says, can we have a link to the newsletter? I don't have a link, but you can link up with me on WhatsApp on this number. Oh, sorry. 0803-356-40. You can add me right away and I'll be in your DM. 0803-356-4055. If you're outside Nigeria, +234-8033-564055. So that's about it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you for hanging out with me on this edition of DMM 6.0. I really want to give God all the glory because he's made it possible. He alone deserves all the honor, all the adoration. Okay, so this is the number. I sent it to, okay, let me send it to everybody because I've sent it to Emmanuela alone. Let me send it to everyone. So this is the number. So if you are outside Lagos, you type +234. Let me see if I can get my plus. I don't know where it is. Okay, 234, then 803. Oh, sorry. So that for those who want to get on the newsletter. Please do get on the newsletter. Life-changing advice is coming out through that. Even I, as a person being used of the Lord to share, I'm sometimes being awed by the kind of information that is coming out from that newsletter. So please get on the newsletter and God bless you. I will implore one of us to pray to end the class. We are done. So does anybody want to volunteer or you want me to call names? Does somebody want to volunteer? Just a short prayer, thanking God. Okay, don't worry, let me just do it since nobody. In Jesus' name, Father, we thank you. Father, we appreciate you. Father, we worship. Father, we give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. It wouldn't have been possible without you. It wouldn't have been possible without you. It wouldn't have been possible without you, Lord. It wouldn't have been possible without you. It wouldn't have been possible. Father, we give you all the glory. We give you all the honor. We give you all the adoration. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for grace for your people, Lord, to step out in. We magnify you are God. We exalt you because you are God. We exalt you because you are faithful. Father, uphold your people that through this training, Lord, they will have results to the glory of your name. Thank you, Lord Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name, we have prayed. Amen. And so, some few announcements, just two announcements. Singles Hangout will be holding on May 28th, to the glory of God. Sunday, May 28th, to the glory of. Please make it a date if you are single and searching. The Lord will meet you at the very point of your need. And our next DMM will be in June. I think June 16th. I have not confirmed from the calendar. I think June 16th. So it will be on a Sunday too. So please keep a date. Get on the newsletter so you can get information. God bless you. Thanks for hanging out with me. Do have a fantastic Sunday evening. Bye-bye.